Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, cover the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka Man of the People, here to keep you up to date with the latest Carolina Panthers news. And the big news, biggest news of the day, biggest news of the NFL is the Brian Burns contract. So we're going to get into that. Certainly invite everybody that may be watching this video for the first time, coming across me for the first time. I'd like to say, hey, Man of the People / your friend in the media. So also my videos are here done live for the purpose of answering your questions that you may have about the Carolina Panthers and anything like that. So I just want to make sure that everything is working right. So give me just a second. It seems like everything's all good. So also something new that I like to do is ask you where you are from. So please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know where you're from, and I will give you a little shout out about it. So I see we already got a lot of people on here, 27, 36, 50. The numbers are going up. And I'm also a personal guy. So there's a dog right now that is at my lap. And I'm also in some hostile territory. I'm in Cowboys territory coming to you from this video. So I'm not in North Carolina right now, having some family time in the South here. And technically right now I'm in Louisiana. But let's go ahead and, okay, so I just asked where you guys are from right now. So what are we, about a minute and a half to this broadcast? For another 30 seconds, I'll get some shout outs. So we got Raleigh that's tuned in. We got Shaq. Well, let me throw these up on the screen here. We got Raleigh. We got Shaq Bartal, who has come across my co-host Andre Cassidy. So, hey Chris, I'm mad at this organization for trading Burns for only a second round and fifth round pick. Clemens saying good evening. Trouble man, what's going on? All right, so yeah, we're at the 2-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the video. But if you want to continue to let me know where you're from in the comments, that'd be cool. I love seeing where people are. Like, again, right now I'm in Louisiana, and we got somebody from High Point, North Carolina. Currently we've got Atlanta, 704. So, all right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get into it right now. We're going to start off with the biggest thing of all, which is Brian Burns getting traded to the New York Giants. So what do you get in this? So the Carolina Panthers are losing Brian Burns, sending him to the New York Giants. And what's being received? Probably, in my opinion, everybody would agree not too much, right? We got a second round pick this year in the 2024 draft. We got a fifth round pick next year in the 2025 draft, and we swap fifth round draft picks this year. Sorry I didn't have time to make the graphic, so I'll tell you one more time. We got a second round pick in this year's 2024 draft. We have a fifth round pick in the 2025 draft, and we swap fifth round picks this year. Who's the big winner? Congratulations to you, Brian Burns. Congratulations to you. He and the New York Giants are the winners, as he got the money that he was looking for. Brian Burns is now the second highest paid edge rusher. He's going to need that money because he's up in New York City, so he's going to have a little bit of taxes, but I'm sure that's not a big deal. But he is now the second highest paid edge rusher. He gets out of Carolina. And before I get into all of your guys' questions, because I'm going to go a few more things and transactions that we have had regarding free agency, and then I always like to dig into the comments, so we're going to get to talking and answering your questions. But I want to say this, and then I'm going to play this video. Please continue to tune in to Charlotte Vibe. We're independent media, so sometimes I know I'm not giving you guys the daily content in the offseason. I'm going to increase it. I have been increasing it. But do know this. When I do go live, when I do broadcast, this is why you want to make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications. I'm going to give you some very good quality content. Okay, so the last time I was live, I was in Indianapolis, and in the same day, I interviewed the head coach, Dave Canales, who happened to tell me who he had met with already at the combine, the linebacker. So that was exclusive content that you got from me. And then after that, I had a chance to speak with Dan Morgan, general manager, in which he talked about Brian Burns and how they were going to handle that and what was on the table for that. So I'm worth the subscription and turn on the bell notification. But also something that I want to point out is that I am in the locker rooms a lot. I'm in around these guys a lot. So when I have things to say, It's based on that interaction and what I'm seeing firsthand, not from what I've been reading a lot, and not to discount people that read a lot and get together information to tell you, because a lot of that's really good. But I just want to emphasize my content, my opinions come from being around these people a lot. In the summertime, it's literally every single day. And I had comments about Brian Burns that I've said, and as Deion Sanders has made popular these days, I have receipts on it, about my opinion has always been, and I didn't yell it, I didn't scream from the top of the roof, my opinion has always been that Brian Burns should not, will not be a Carolina Panther once it's all said and done. So I'm gonna play that clip for you so you can see that I'm not just trying to say, hey, listen to me after this has happened. I said this about Brian Burns just before I went to Indianapolis to cover the combine. So here you go. So Brian Burns has not got a new contract yet. The what's it called? Franchise tag opened last Tuesday, I believe was the exact date, and we go until, man, I should have wrote all this down. So I believe March 4th is how long they have to franchise him. So will they franchise him? Will they do franchise him and try to trade him? My opinion so far, and I'm going to dive into it deeper for another video, was that, or is that, I don't know how much Brian Burns wants to be here. So, and I would say no, no intel, no inside sources on that, but I just know that he was so frustrated last year, and with this team, with going like, if you were at a company and you went through what he went through last year with the hold in, with thinking he was going to get a check, with them give you every single signal that they were going to give you a check because they refused a heck of a trade offer for you. You feel like they're going to take care of their own people, and then they didn't. And then you played through the season, and it just was, without a doubt, the worst season that you've had, and the team has had. Worst season he's had in his career, and certainly one of the worst seasons that the team has had ever. And there's so many broken pieces on this team that it's very likely that it's going to take several years to rebuild. And do you want to continue to be a part of that in the prime of your career? For me, I feel like I would want to go ahead and go somewhere else, have a new slate, be working with some people that I feel like believe in me and trust in me. And so I would either not want to be franchise tag, or I would be all, if I was Brian Burns, I'd be all about to sign and trade so I can go somewhere else. Go somewhere where I'm appreciated, go somewhere else where I got some better talents, go somewhere where I can achieve more. That's my 2 cents on it. All right, so again, I wanted to show receipts for what I said about 2 weeks ago, and what I've been saying all along with this Brian Burns situation was that he's not going to be here. I did not feel like he would. And just to, that video that I showed there should give you enough information, but just to add on to that a little bit more, the reason why I said this, of course, is what you heard in the video, but also this photograph that you've seen here. I don't want to take up too much time, so let me quickly see if I can find it. These photographs that our photographer took during games, let me see if I can quickly find this. Bear with me for a second, everybody. It was when we played the Cowboys in Charlotte. Yeah, so here we go. Let me see if I can minimize this and share this with you guys. So this won't fit perfectly on the screen, but here's a few photographs to, again, back up what I'm saying about Burns and why I say what I say. You have this picture here. That's Brian Burns after the Cowboys game later on in the season. And then you have this picture here of Brian Burns taken later on in the season playing the Cowboys. So those are two pictures that I can share with you. And then I'll paint the other picture. you guys may have heard about, okay, Brian Burns doing his hold in, how frustrated he was, what he looked like. But I saw it. I would see him come out on the field. He do the warm-up stretches, and then they go into drills, and he'd go on the side and ride a bike. He wouldn't participate. Then he'd come into an individual drill, and then Brian would go out there and he'd participate, and then they go into team stuff, and then Brian would come off. I've been seeing this guy in the locker room for years, and he's always talkative to media. He's always, positive guy. He's a captain of the team. This year in the locker room, a lot of times he would still talk, but there's also times where you just saw him over there, especially during the hold-in, and he was just looking like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. It was like he was frustrated. And then you saw how the season played out. Atlanta came out first game of the season, away game Atlanta, he did pretty well. Things went on. This team was 2-15. A lot of problems. Anyway, so my reasoning for saying I don't think Brian Burns was going to be here was based on what I saw from him every day. And it wasn't sourced. So I like to be clear with that because players give you a lot of trust when you're talking to them, having some conversations that are on the record, off the record. So this is nothing that I got from those situations. It was just from observation. So Brian Burns is no longer with us, meaning he's with the Giants. It sounded a little harsh the way I said it that way. He's with the Giants. Did we get much? No, but I'm pretty sure this is just what we could do at this point. This is all that we could do, was get that second-round pick, get the fifth-round pick, and swap. That just is what it is. And I'm going to continue to, my thing is I always like to just give the facts and let you all decide how you want to feel about it. And certainly I like to be here for any questions that you have. This team, at this point, might as well just rebuild as much of this team as possible. Rebuild it all, right? Because it's so much wrong. And you want to give Dave Canales and Dan Morgan the cleanest slate possible to make things the way that they feel it should be, the way things that it should be. And since you're 2-15, you don't have a reason to hold on to anything. There's no, like when I heard the keep Brian Burns, I'm like, yeah, but for what? In the sense of he wasn't happy, he didn't want to pay him. You obviously seem like you don't want to pay him whatever the numbers are. Just restart it all. So I'm going to go over a few more players that we have gotten that are no longer, I don't like saying no longer, that are on different teams than the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can from you all. Please do me a favor, though. Hit that like button while you're watching the channel. That helps other people find out about the channel. Costs you nothing, does a lot for me. Super chats, if you guys like to do that, that's also welcome and appreciated to continue to support independent media. So just like to get you guys mentally prepared for what to expect as a fan next season. I don't yet have a true, hey, this is where I feel like we may be, other than just saying, let's see what happens. Let's see what moves they continue to make. Don't get excited about anything until I let you know, which will probably be after a couple of preseason games. So we've got a little bit of time before we get into that. Because I'll tell you what, I'm not going to get excited over a draft. I'm going to report. I'll be optimistic, but I'm not going to get excited over anything that happens during the draft. I'm not going to get excited over minicamp for rookies. I'm not going to get excited over OTAs, any of that stuff, all right? So, but I will continue to report to you what's happening. So let me do one of these here, and then another one of these right here.
Super Chat.
My man Black Baller Enterprise, I think he says, I feel like go all in, trade Brown, get first round picks. So he's saying trade Derek Brown on the defensive side and get a lot of picks. Well, Derek Brown's situation is different in that he's younger. He hasn't gone through this contract pull and negotiation type of thing. He hasn't been jaded or burned by the team, where there's hard feelings. And he's darn good, and he's a big body. So I would not go to move Derek Brown unless he starts to say, hey, I really don't, something like that. He has a chance to be patient, has a chance to be paid. Just got his first Pro Bowl and continue to grow with the team. But otherwise, we are going all in to get everything that we can. We're not keeping anybody that we don't have to. There's no reason at all to keep anybody that is existing on this team if you're trying to build something that's your own, right? So appreciate the super chat there. And let's go ahead and talk about some of these other transactions that have been happening. And again, appreciate all the love from everybody on here. And I'm going to get through these comments in just a second. Stay patient with me. I will get through as many comments as I can. I want to get you some more up-to-date information on the team and their latest moves with the free agency. I am working on my laptop. Don't have all my screens that I'm used to having, so it takes me a little second to get around. So if you see that I'm looking at the camera but looking like I'm confused, I'm not confused. I'm just reading other information. So, oh, by the way, let me go ahead and finish off with the Brian Burns. His contract, I did mention that he's the second highest paid. 5-year contract, $150 million, $87.5 million guaranteed. Good job there. Carolina Panthers did also make another splash move today, getting a guard, Robert Hunt, from the Dolphins. Again, that's major, so I'm only going to talk about it for a second, not to minimize the fact that that is major, giving Bryce Young some protection, some much-needed protection. Again, the Carolina Panthers are signing Robert Hunt from the Miami Dolphins. He's a guard. He's certainly going to be able to help us out in getting some pass protection for Bryce Young. Big guy, nice contract. Let me see if I have the terms here. Don't quite have that yet, but he's 6'6", 330 pounds. Second round pick out of Louisiana Lafayette. How about that? I'm in Louisiana right now. We got a guy from Louisiana today, but they added him to give Bryce Young some protection. So that's good to see. All right, so some transactions. Actually, let me touch on some NFC South news for a moment. That's always important, right? Because we're not just playing ourselves. We have to go against the NFC South, Atlanta, Tampa, and New Orleans. So no news I want to report from New Orleans, but I do want to report for Tampa Bay, my man Baker Mayfield. I can't wait to see him again, give him a congratulations. He bet on himself. Only made, $4 or $5 million last year. His contract last year was heavily incentivized with metrics. Hit on most of them, getting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into the playoffs. And he's now a rich man. I forget the exact terms of his contract, but something like 30 million plus. He got a nice payday. So we'll be continuing to see a former Carolina Panther, Baker Mayfield, under center in Tampa Bay. Also, just down the road in Atlanta, my man Kirk Cousins, a guy who definitely knows how to bet on himself, has signed a huge contract with the Atlanta Falcons. So this NFC South, let me just tell you, this NFC South is looking a lot better than it was last year. You know, it's been one of the lower performing divisions in the NFL for some time now. So just already getting you ready. If Kirk Cousins goes to Atlanta, Baker maintains in Tampa. We have Bryce in Carolina, but we're also cleaning out our closet, cleaning out a lot of locker rooms. It's probably going to be some years before we're like playoff NFC South champions. But for me, I'm okay with cleaning out everything and how many players may come and go in terms of just as we get ready to get this team built for the future. As long as the season that comes up doesn't look like the atrocity that it looked like last year. You could be losing and still look like you're making progress and playing good games. You could be losing as long as okay, we're not ending the season like we did this year with 2 consecutive shutouts. But Baker Mayfield again got paid with Tampa Bay, and Kirk Cousins signed with the Atlanta Falcons. So let's go ahead and go into the move so far, free agency for the Carolina Panthers. Please continue to hit that like button. And if you have left a comment, be patient as I go through just a few more things about the free agency moves, get you up to date again. For those that just may be tuning in, I'm Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe. Your friend in the media, answering any questions that you can have while I'm online here. All right, Dante Jackson. And by the way, I'm just going accumulative, so not everything I'm about to say is like breaking news at this point, but just want to make sure that you're all up to date with it. Dante Jackson, been with the Panthers ever since he was brought into the league. I think he's an LSU guy, right? So, man, again, I'm in Louisiana. Everything's Louisiana-based tonight, but Dante Jackson is going to be cut from the team. Not too surprising. A lot of these guys that have been cut so far are going to be guys that were due roster bonuses right now. So the Carolina Panthers are saving themselves some money by letting those guys go. That leaves J.C. Horn on the other side. J.C. Horn's also been a guy that's been hurt, but he's on a rookie contract. You can be patient with him a little bit more because he's on that rookie contract and see what else you can do. Hayden Hurst, he's going to be hurt. He's going to be cut as well. He got hurt this season. Never, ever had a chance, seems like, to get things going in Carolina. So I feel like that's not a big surprise. I feel like that's something good for the Carolina Panthers. Good for Hayden Hurst, get him in a new place, give him an opportunity to succeed. Bradley Bozeman. This is one of those ones that's kind of like a more unfortunate, like, man, that guy, he was a good guy in the community. He was a good guy in the locker room. He was a great guy to talk to. Enjoyed talking with Bozeman, but he is going to be released as well. That's not surprising. Great community guy, but unfortunately, his play on the field, not one of the best, even just at that center position, allowed a lot of pressure. So Bradley Bozeman is not going to be a Carolina Panthers this year. Safety Von Bell will also be released. Again, all these guys that are released got bonuses coming up in millions of dollars. So safety Von Bell will no longer be a Carolina Panther. And let's talk about the guys that are still here. One of those guys that are still, that will still be here. Ian Thomas, tight end. I know some people are like, oh man. So if Andre is on the show with me today, my co-host, he'd be like, not another screen to Ian Thomas. Why to keep him? But Ian Thomas restructured his contract, so he will be remaining as a Carolina Panther. And then you have J.J. Jansen, old man Jansen. He's been in the league, 16, 17 seasons? So hats off to him. He says he wants to play to 40. He is certainly getting 1 year closer to that as he has signed a contract with the Carolina Panthers. One moment. I put way too much ice in my mouth. Sorry about that. Sorry, I muted myself. J.J. Jansen's back. Cornerback Troy Hill is back. And a few guys that are not released, but they're gone. They signed bigger and better contracts. And one of those guys definitely hurts. Frankie Louvu, really good guy to talk to. Came on with the team, progressed well from the special teams, being a very big impact player for the Carolina Panthers. Frankie Louvu has signed a contract with the Washington Commanders. He's no longer with the Carolina Panthers. And also, YGM, Yetur Gross Matos, has signed a contract with the 49ers. And he is no longer with the team. So just a real quick recap, and then we're going to get into the question and answer with you guys. No longer with the Carolina Panthers and either released or with other teams. Dante Jackson, Hayden Hurst, Bradley Bozeman, Yetur Gross Matos, Frankie Louvu, and safety Von Bell. Also forgot to mention cornerback Troy Hill is back. You got it? Did you get it all? All right. Once again, your super chats are welcome. Please hit the like button watching the video. And let's go ahead and go through some more of these comments. Thank you all for patiently waiting and giving me a chance to go through these comments. And also, link is in the description. If you want to come on the show, ask a question, tell me how you feel about Brian Burns. All you got to do is be on a computer, a phone, any devices connected to the internet with a camera. Come on the show. Love to have you. Hear what you have to say about this free agency period that just opened up today, or if there's any questions that you could ask me. So we're the only media that's credentialed that does this for you, that interacts with you live. So that's an opportunity for you to take advantage of it. So let's go and continue to go through these comments. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson. Well, I'll wait till you guys ask me about him before I talk about him. But here we go. Louis leaving hit me more than Burns' trade did, to be honest. Yeah, because maybe you saw the Burns thing coming because it was such a long saga. There's no saga with Frankie Louvu, so you could just have full hope there. You know, he's not been asked 50 questions about it. And, where do you want to be? Do you think they want him here? Blah, blah, blah. So I could get that underground, Russ. Appreciate the comment. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate everybody that is tuning in right now. You guys are motivating me. Sometimes it gets hard, independent media, to always have the resources to do videos each day that there's news. But lots of love here tonight, so I'm going to continue to try to build on just doing a video wherever I'm at. Tomorrow I'm flying back to Charlotte, but if I need to do a video and I have a second to do a video, maybe to be short, I'll do something because I appreciate the love. Wow, Leonard Kowalski out there in California tuning in. Appreciate you tuning in all the way from California. Thank you so much. Back to Brian Burns. I'm not mad that we traded him. I'm mad we only got a second round for 2024. Yeah, so this was just, I asked Dan Morgan, our general manager, about, and the way I worded it, so I had to say it exactly as I worded it to him, about being the understudy of Scott Fitterer. Because a lot of people are like, okay, what's going to make you different than Scott Fitterer, because you were here with him. You were in the room with him. You were part of the team. Why is it going to be different? He professionally and kindly said he's not an understudy of Scott Fitterer, and talked about how much experience that he's had in the league, starting with Seattle and all the places he's been around, the GMs that he's worked with. So this was mostly a Scott Fitterer thing that Dan's going to have to deal with as he now steps into that seat and is our general manager. When a guy doesn't have his best season, though it was a really good one, but he does not have a contract, and everybody knows that you need him, well, you don't have much leverage in what you can get for the guy. You could if it was a lot of teams saying that they wanted him, but some teams could be like, I saw a little bit of slide. I like the guy, but I don't want to pay him that much. Let me see if he can come into the open market. But nevertheless, it was just a situation where leverage was lost. And yes, there's no way at all that Scott Fitterer could still have been with the Carolina Panthers and this happened. At least right now, it's happening that you're really disappointed that, hey, we could have had 2 first-round picks, and now we get no first-round picks. A little bit of saving face by the organization, like, that guy's out of here. Dan Morgan's the guy now. This is just all that he had to get what he could get, and just say, yeah, we didn't handle it the best way that we could have handled it, right? That's what you get out of that. So appreciate the comment there. We're going to continue to go. Oh, earlier on I asked about where people are from, so I'm going to read these. We got some Marshville. We got some Lumberton. Okay, that's asking about some other moves. I'll come back to that. Going through these comments now, so bear with me as I try to get to perhaps your comment. And again, you can call into the show. There's a link in the description for those that are on YouTube. We're broadcasting live as well on Twitter and Facebook, so those links aren't in the description. But if you're on YouTube, you can go over to the description and come on board. So feel free to do that. little compliment on the interviews that I had with Coach Dave Canales and Dan Morgan. Those were great interviews. Thank you very much. Lots more good interviews coming. Trust me, lots more good interviews are coming. All right, so here's a question from not Dan Morgan. Do you think we use pick 33 and 39 at wide receiver? I always have to be transparent to continue to earn your trust and your viewership. I haven't yet gone deep into my board and analysis for the draft, who's out there, teams that are around us, and what we're likely to get. Obviously, there's no question that wide receiver is a need for. When I talked to Dan Morgan, he did definitely mention wide receiver as a need, as a room that they need to get improve upon. So they know that. But what I can share for you that's absolute is it's going to happen. Who we get is based on the best player available. It's not going to be, hey, we really need a wide receiver. And when our pick comes up, another position on the defense is available. Okay? Whatever that position is, that's when they make their board, who's at the top, and when they get to their pick, that's what they're going to do. Now, they did say this. If it's a tie, if it's pretty close to, let's just say we got a defensive guy that's available, best available overall, but we really want a wide receiver first, there may be two or three slots different on the board, then they're going to go with that positional need. But otherwise, they're just going to try to build this team through their draft board and picking the best available player on their board with that current pick. That's how they're going to do that. Appreciate the question, not Dan Morgan. Chance, I don't really understand your question. I'm wondering what are we doing kind of day. Again, just read through the comments. I don't know if I'm tired, but I'm not quite getting all these comments. The Panthers can't be a bad team and in cap hell. They needed to pick a struggle, and they did. Oh, okay, I get it now. I get it now. This is basically saying, we need money to spend, right? And get rid of guys so you can have tons of money to spend so that as free agency comes about, and if there's a guy that's like a mid-level, good, talented guy, fits the mold. If you're on the defensive side, they're saying they're looking for dogs. Well, even you could talk about on the offensive side, looking for a dog, a guy that just wants to win, wants to compete. A dog isn't necessarily just a guy on the defensive side that wants to be mean and hit hard, right? A dog could be a guy like a Steve Smith on wide receiver on the offensive side that ain't afraid to go across the middle, that ain't afraid to block you down the field for his running back or something like that. So having money to spend allows us to now, again, get all these guys out that aren't your guys, that maybe cost you a little bit of money, and build. I think it's very important that Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, who's the guy who's going to really build a team, just get as blank of a slate as can be, because this also to me indicates that David Tepper's saying, blow it up, start over. I'm going to be patient with you guys. I believe in you guys, and I want to give you some tools. I don't want you to use a little bit of this guy's stuff and that guy's stuff. If you like this player, keep him. But if not, get rid of him. And even Dave Canales has said, and in his evaluation, as he's been looking through the tape, and they're determined about what players they want to keep and not keep, because this is his first year with the team, and he does not yet have a lot of emotional attachment to a Frankie Louvu or to a Smith Marshall. I'm just naming guys randomly, please. He doesn't have any attachment to say, you know what? Yeah, we can get a better piece in this guy. Maybe not even a better piece, but we can get an equal guy, but a cheaper cost. So let's do that and let that guy go. So that's the approach that they're taking. Rebuild, give these guys the tools that they need. Dave and Dan. We'll give Dave the tools they need. Dan's the one who's picking them. And be unemotional about it. Do what's best for the organization. And right now, I'm speaking in terms of what Dave Canales has said, want to give Bryce the best environment for him to succeed. Appreciate that comment, E. Clemens. Appreciate the comment, Chris. Josh. I'm sorry. I appreciate the comment, Josh, saying Chris with the details. Yeah, I feel like the details are important. You guys taking your time to watch me, to support me, it means a lot. And I just like to paint the picture of why I'm saying what I say. I'm not just a talking head. I'm not just a guy that has read stuff. I am in the locker rooms. I'm at the games. I'm at the practices. I'm at the road games. Excuse me. So I'm not just pulling stuff off the air. I mean, out the air. And also, I'm going to speak objectively. And I'll tell you if I'm speaking as a fan about something or so you can know where to put it. But again, appreciate the comment. Appreciate everybody watching. Continue to hit that like button as well. I'm going to try to get through all the questions that I can here. All right, let me read this from Carolina Panthers. I need glasses, so you guys may start to see me with glasses on. There are so many ways to create more cap space. I'm not really worried about the cap. Teams do it every day. If we can get T. Higgins a number one receiver and pay him $20 million a year for 4 or 5 years. Brandon Herbert, I so much appreciate your comment. And let me talk about your comment here. I do not believe that the Carolina Panthers will have the ability to get much tier one talent on this team. The only scenario that I see that we could get a tier one Pro Bowl type caliber guy to come to this team is if we pay him a ton of money, or if there's a previous relationship because, hey, he coached with them at this place and they have a good relationship and he feels like this coach, whether it's a positional coach, a coordinator coach, whatever position, can really get a lot out of him. And like, yeah, I'll come because I believe I have this relationship here and we get that guy. Otherwise, if I'm, excuse me, sorry about that. If I'm a top tier guy at my position and I'm going into my prime, I want to win. I don't want to just get paid. I want to win and get paid. I want to, and I don't see that's going to be happening at the Carolina Panthers in season 1. And you look at the miraculous quick turnarounds, okay, well, 2 years, we could be possibly a playoff team. But we also could possibly miss, right? So just as a business, all right, Carolina, all this possible, but you're trying to be like really optimistic. I would rather, if I'm a top tier guy, go to a team that has a better track record than the Carolina Panthers, that hasn't had 4 coaches in 2 years, and this, all this bad. I would not want to come. I would only want to come to Carolina if I'm a talented guy that feels like I need a chance. I'm like a mid-level. I'm a solid player, and I can convince him to give me a $500 million more than this other team, or something like that. The low-level guys that just kind of need that chance. That's my take. It really is. Appreciate it. We'll continue to go through it. And actually, I think we just got another super chat. So, the super chats that we get, we always got to take a moment, show them a lot of love. Let's play the wrong noise there. And also give them this sound effect right here.
Super chat.
All right, so we got a super chat. Thank you so much. Independent media, always appreciate it. 100% supported by the fans. Defense isn't stopping anyone next season. Good Lord. Okay, so let me give you. Try to get everything adjusted here. Let me give you some hope for the defense. The biggest great thing, hope, optimism for this defense is a guy by the name of I I haven't said his name in a minute, Ivero, our defensive coordinator. He was a mastermind last year. He was wonderful last year. He was a genius last year. Dave Canales said that he was happy to get him on his team when it became official that Ivero would not go somewhere else because he distinctly remembers coaching against him in Tampa Bay and how difficult it was. And specifically how it was a play that was called in. It was near the half. Carolina called a timeout, made some changes. Play was ran, knocked Tampa Bay out of field goal position, and they couldn't score. And he's like, good, obviously felt like Ivero outsmarted him in that case while he was on the offensive side for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Ivero had this team defensively playing last year extremely well, and the way he coaches his team and his positional coaches do so, we had a ton of injuries on both sides of the ball. On both sides of the ball last year. A lot happened on the offensive side, specifically that offensive line that really, really stands out. But a lot was going on the defensive side. We'd have players out, and they still performed. He still found ways to match his personnel, his scheme against the competition, and give this team a chance to win each and every week. Now, it finally kind of fell apart at the end of the season, but up until then, it's a 17-week game season now, not just 16. Top 10 defense. So losing Brian Burns, Dante Jackson, Von Bell, Frankie Louvu, perhaps even Shaq Thompson and more. It's not like, okay, he's just going to make them super great, but I don't feel like it's going to even go anywhere near to the level of disappointment that offense went to last year. He will still make this defensive team, I feel, no matter who's out there, I feel like as long as Ivero is your defensive coordinator, you're going to be at least in the middle of the pack. I can watch the middle of the pack. That's fine. I can't watch below the middle of the pack. Appreciate the comment very, 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 very much. Let's continue to work through these comments here. Again, if you're still watching, that means you are enjoying. Don't be afraid. Don't be selfish with the likes. Don't be selfish. Hit the like button. It helps. We're at 30 likes right now. Way more people watching than 30. Hundreds of people watching. All you people that are watching and aren't liking the videos, shame on you. All right, let me continue to work through these. Appreciate you guys. Tough day for Panther fans. Uh-oh, I skipped too far, so I'm sorry. Give me just a second. All right, again, just going through some of the comments. I want to make sure I get through everybody before I sign off here. Again, for everybody that's maybe tuning in, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers, live while I'm on vacation in Louisiana right now. So that's why you have the background that you have and everything. But shout outs to the relatives for having a good internet connection and a place for me to come and do this video. That's the face of all Panthers fans last season. Who the heck is going to be the face of this franchise now? Bryce. He's probably talking about that Brian Burns picture that I put up. All right. All right, so question here from Panthers Buzz. So what happens if the Panthers are better than the Giants next season? Because never know, anything can happen. Next few months will tell how the team is built. So probably what you're talking about is sometimes things are conditional. And, if the team finishes here, you get a conditional pick, variables like that. There's nothing like that involved with here. So it doesn't matter what happens with the Giants. Doesn't matter what happens with the Panthers. It is what it is. A second-round pick, a fifth-round pick next year, swapping fifth-round picks this year. That's what's going to happen. There's no variables of anything that could change that. Appreciate the question, Panther Buzz. And just read through some of the comments here. All right, hold on a second. Give me just a second. I think we got some news that you guys are telling me about. So I'm just looking into what you all are saying about a signing that has happened here. Let me see if I can verify it pretty quick. Okay, so here we go. Carolina Panthers, another big guard. So let me first say thank you to everybody. Let's see if I got a sound effect for this to, no, I don't. I need to get a breaking news alert sound effect. So thank you to my loyal and great supporters for telling me about Damian Lewis. So yes, the Carolina Panthers just signed, or expected to sign, Seahawks guard Damian Lewis to a 4-year, $53 million contract with $26 million guaranteed. Again, Panthers are expected to sign former Seattle Seahawks guard Damian Lewis to a 4-year, $53 million deal with $26.2 million fully guaranteed. And, well, I mean, number one, thank you all for pointing that out so I could look it up and talk about it. But that should start to give you a very clear picture of priority being given to Dave Canales when he was talking to the Tepper saying, I'm going to get Bryce some help. And this is the team that, in my opinion, is obviously saying, even if we didn't get it right in the sense that we got the best quarterback in the draft, we still feel like we have a franchise quarterback that will be pretty good and that we should still build this team around. So let's free up as much money as we can. And who are our first two signings? A guard on one side, a guard on the other side. You still also have Taylor Moton, who's been a rock solid piece. And so now you have some really big bodies, some really big help to continue to be patient and develop Bryce Young. Dave Canales told me when I was sitting down one-on-one with him in Indianapolis that he feels like he has some secrets and advantages that shorter quarterbacks can take advantage of, which is what he used with Baker Mayfield, that he plans on using with Bryce Young. One of those things that he's going to be doing for Bryce Young and make sure that happens is he's going to have him on a clock. I believe the amount of time he said was 2.7 seconds. Now, he said it's not going to be that every single play he can stick to that. But for the most part, he is going to work on making sure that Bryce is getting rid of the ball quick and that the wide receivers know about this time that he has to get the ball quick. And everybody needs to know, because when they're able to do that and execute off that, then they can have success. They can keep Bryce upright, keep him from getting hit. And he's also going to make the run game pretty important. So with these guards that he has, some pretty big guys, then you can still also run. And, hey, you might now see Icky in a rotational situation where he's used a lot to help with running the ball, because Icky did really, really well with running. And he's committed to the run. Right now, Chuba Hubbard is that guy that's going to be running with us. But obviously, they're feeling like, let's shift money over to the offensive side, protect our franchise. We're going to use the brain master child that we have. I don't like that. Let's just use this great, awesome defensive coordinator that we have in Ivero. And if we still just maintain average defense, average to good defense, doesn't have to be the best because we're losing a lot of parts. Grow some guys over there, groom them, build them up, keep Ivero here. And then we can improve our offense. And again, man, let me just say this. It does not take much for this team to be better than we were last year. 2-15. It doesn't take much for this team to suddenly be, you can even say 6-11. That's 3 times better than what we were this year. If we win 6 games, that is 300% better than we were this year. I'm sure that you all could stand watching us win 3 times as many more games last year as we did last year this year, and be like, okay, I can watch this team on Sundays. But again, thank you everybody for pointing that out. Lastly, I'll repeat it one more time. Guard Damian Lewis signed to a contract. Let me see if I can get his measurements for you guys. I got a feeling he's going to be a big guy. Did not type his name right. He is 6'2", so not huge in height, but not a light guy. 326 pounds. 6'2", 326 pounds. So definitely got some beef up front. These guys, both of these guys are much bigger than Taylor Moton. Moton's, he's taller at 6'5", but he's under 300 pounds. Both the guys that we got today are 300 pounders, also known as what my man Dave Gettleman would say is hog mollies, right? So we're getting some beef up front. So we've really been through it all the past 6 or 7 years, man. We've been through it in the sense of like just not getting anywhere, just being perpetually bad. Matt Lomax says, I'm so ready for the draft. That's cool. I'm going to get you ready for the draft. And on draft night, even though we currently do not have a first round pick, I'll keep you up to date. And we always do a lot of draft coverage. So look for that. And I'm sorry if this ice crunching is loud in your ear. Dry mouth. And I only have ice with me right now. I love how aggressive we're being, trying to put this line together. If we can fix the offensive line, it will make us so much better. We may not be great, but it will be drastically better. I have nothing to say because I just basically talked about that, and I agree with you very much there. Yeah, the O-line is definitely coming together. Is there any steam behind a T. Higgins trade? So I don't have any sources. I haven't been digging into that a lot, but my feeling is that unless T. Higgins has some close ties to somebody that's on the Carolina Panthers staff, and we're about to pay him more, way more than anybody else would, I just don't see a top-tier player coming to us in free agency, especially at one of those positions like that could get paid, one of those skill positions. I don't see it. All right. Sorry, just looking through some things, looking through these comments. So trying to get to these. If you're still on here watching, that's all I'm doing. Some people not feeling like the Panthers are ever going to be anything. I would encourage you, Kenny, to go ahead and be on the cautiously optimistic bandwagon about this Carolina Panthers team, because the one thing that they're doing right now that they have not ever done, or it's been so long ago that it's not immediately coming to mind, is We have a new head coach. We have a new general manager. And we have a lot of players exiting stage left. And that is giving the current people the ability to not have to say, hey, I got half of Matt Rule guys. I got half of Frank Reich guys. I got this coaching staff over here that I had to take. They're going to obviously keep some pieces, but you're not seeing an overwhelming amount of something that was here before. And then I'm forced to make it work within my system and what I believe and what I want to have and what I want to build. So for that sake, I feel like, yeah, I could be behind and optimistic about a guy who's building something brand new. And I think you can certainly understand that you can be patient with it, because if you're building something, it takes more than a season to get it there. And as long as you see some progress next year, then I think things will be good. And I kind of feel like David Tepper would be less put his hands in things less if he sees some progress. I'm sure he'll still have his comments, his opinions, but I would imagine, as you would, you could hold your tongue a little bit better if you're not having to endure something that's just 2 wins, right? Your comments, your suggestions, like, hey, you might say, hey, I like this thing, just whatever you need. But if they're 2-15, you might be like, listen, man, like I saw that last. Anyway, I just think it's a lot easier for him to probably manage his team as an owner if we're making some kind of progress. I'm trying to get to a few more comments before I get off here. I try to do the shows for about an hour, so we got about 3 more minutes. Super chats, always welcome, needed, appreciated. Trying to find if there's a few more comments that I can get to before I get off of here. My man C-Dog always has the best comments. Please follow the advice of C-Dog. Please follow the advice of C-Dog. Independent media, I'll be honest with you, independent media, we need viewers. And you guys that are watching, that have been tuning in, are the reason that I was able to get the head coach and Dan Morgan on the show, general manager, on the same day. They knew they were going to be seen. The team knows that there's people watching. It helps me. So, please continue to watch. Please continue to hit that like button. Because we're independent, as we grow and our numbers grow, our subscribers grow, then if you're telling me, hey, I want to see this, I can't guarantee that that's going to happen. But you only have to convince me that you want it, and then I'm going to try to do it. All right? So it just helps a lot. That's why I always talk about it, and we'll continue to talk about the support that I need and appreciate it as we continue to get the support. See another comment about the defense being trash. Don't forget why it was so crucial to keep Evero. Don't forget why it was so crucial to keep Evero. It could certainly slide down. Certainly could. But it's not going to go to the levels of trash like the offense did this season. Look at Leonard Krause. That's true. Evero had Denver defense legit without a star defensive line. Evero is your wild card. He's your ace. He's your master plan. Evero is so crucial. Question is going to be how long we can keep him, but hopefully we'll keep him long enough, even just next season, if we can keep him through next season. I think he has 2 more years on his contract. But each year that we keep him and gives our chance for our offense to get better, then it becomes easier to get that free agent that can say, I'll come to Charlotte, Carolina Panthers. I believe they could win. They are turning things around. They did do this. Now I believe in the Panthers. But I promise you, our history affects our free agency right now. I promise you that that's happening. All right, so I'm going to get off of here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. What's up, Omar Tillman? Appreciate you tuning in. That's over 200 million on. That's over 200 million on guards. Did we just spend that much? Wow. Oh, he says my bad. 150 million. Yeah, that seems better. I didn't feel like we gave out $200 million contracts today. But thanks everybody for tuning in. This broadcast was phenomenal. I appreciate you all. I will continue to work for you all. You all have a friend in the media, which is myself, Chris Jenkins, aka Man of the People. So questions that you have, please let me know. I'll continue to get you prepared for this draft and the team ahead. One thing that I thought I would get asked about, which we didn't, Shaq Thompson, who tweeted today that it's a sad day. Will Shaq Thompson be back? I don't know. There's not been any news about it right now, so I feel like he's a guy that's maybe wanting it to work in Carolina for some reason. I honestly would not know why you'd want to stay when all your guys are gone. Burns, Luvu, Jackson, etc. Anyway, appreciate you all for watching. So long from Louisiana, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.